Find that you're squinting because you can't figure out what's in front of you, but you don't want to reach for your glasses, and what you might need is the 3-in-1 by Magnipro. They sent me this in exchange for a review, and I had a time to play around with them, so I'm going to show you some practical uses for them and a little bit about what they are. Quick glance, you've got two different components. You have the gooseneck portion of it, which has a decent amount of flexibility so that you can put it around your neck in other ways, which I'll show you in a second. And you have the other detachable piece, which is a light up with 3 different kinds of lights and a display magnifying glass. This means if you want to use it independently, like a regular magnifying glass, or if you want to wear it like something like a necklace, you can just snap it into this little piece like this. Probably thinking like, hey Adam, why would I need something hanging around my neck and making me look like this? Why can't I just go get my glasses? Or if you can't see things, why don't you get glasses? And I got a couple different practical things for you of why, because I have pretty decent sight, but it's still helpful in a lot of cases, and I want to show you a couple of those examples. One of the things that plant lovers will really appreciate about this, for example, is this is my wife has a whole bunch of plants. The ones in the living room are off, so I'll just use this. Luckily, I've got the light up, so I don't need to worry about the lack of lighting on this. But just from my perspective, if you are a plant owner, one of the things that, I mean, like serious plant owner, you got a whole bunch of plants. One of the things you have to look at for is indication of mites or other little fun stuff like that. So I'm trying to get this perspective so you can see without having to squint my eyes and stuff. I can look for little buggers. Now, obviously, I'm not trying to show you bugs, because if we had an infestation, that we'd have way more bigger problems than me not being able to see correctly. But just like for comparison, you know, what it looks like here, and then when you get that, I'm trying to get the proper angle so you can see it. But it makes it a lot easier because you can go and let me just show you the living room. So the lighting in here is a little poo-poo, but look at all these different plants. And I am not joking when I say that she's putting her face into the plants, trying to look for mites and all sort of frightful little bugs. Having something like this makes it easier to look at it, and it's right there at the perfect angle. It's easy to adjust. One other practical thing is I like to do stuff with microelectronics. So sometimes you've got these very little holes that you have to try to figure out where your pins are. And something like this makes it easy when I have both hands. Obviously, I'm holding with my camera on one hand. But if you look in there, it's a lot easier to see what you're doing. It also is really good if you don't have a proper lighting so that you can see things because it's too dark, and it has an HD lens if you want to get a little bit closer. It's like a quick and dirty way to be able to read if you're having, maybe your glasses are out in the other room and you're by your bedside or something, and this is a good way to have enough light to be able to read. With magnifying aside, I have one usage that I like to use a lot too. If you look at in the camera, this is my dark inside of my face because I don't have a good light source from here. But right over here, I've got my gooseneck hanging from here. So take a look at the lighting difference. So that makes my face look a little bit more clean for the camera. And if I want to really make it bright, I think that's a little bit too much in that. But I use it as a ring light, and I keep it sometimes right behind the camera. I'll show you how to do that. So there's my tripod right there, and there it acts kind of like a ring light, and you have 3 different modes. You could have that. And with the gooseneck technology, with the gooseneck flexibility, I can just hang it right over the door frame, and it could even freestand if I wanted to. So if I needed to do a little bit of filming at maybe a smaller angle and I don't have the right size light, you can kind of adjust this thing in different ways so that you can get that lighting in your shot. So that's kind of a separate thing aside from what it's advertised for, but I think that's equally as valid. So at very worst, I mean, if you're wearing it around your neck, you might look a little bit goofy, but you're probably not going to be out in public using this thing anyways. It's most likely going to be if you're by your bed reading your book, like I mentioned, or, you know, anything looking up close. I mean, sometimes I'm looking at things in nature or, you know, rocks and stuff like that. I'm trying to figure out some details, or my wife trying to figure out if there's little bugs on her plants and stuff like that. So if that's the only drawback, that's not a big deal.